I was just going to say, like, I think there was this interview with this Aussie like foreign fighter. He was basically saying how there's issues with the ex-Soviet command structure and yeah, how it doesn't allow the troops to sort of react. Just wondering how true that is, because I think we haven't really seen the Russian regulars, like a lot of the success stories have been coming out. I don't know whether it's propaganda or what, but from the Wagner guys are getting a lot of success, whereas the Ukrainians and the Russians not so much, by way of sort of those big offensives.
I'll answer
Let's
that
get thoughts on
question for
that.
you. So I have friends from I live in Russia, by the way, and I have friends here from the war. They're veterans from the Afghanistan war. They're veterans from the Georgian war. They're veterans from the Chechen war. So I have a lot of people here around me who've been to war, fighting for the Russian army, and they often talk about these things that you're saying about their system of leading is very top heavy. So you have a lot of officers with a lot of responsibility, whereas in the West it's non-commissioned officers like me, who I was a sergeant or a corporal. Our armies lead from the bottom up. We have the ability to adapt in smaller situations, and the Russian army and the Ukrainian army, they're based off another type of doctrine, like I said, top heavy. And the problem when you have mercenaries in the Ukrainian side who operate like Western countries is that you're going to have a conflict of mentality and of basically fighting a war with two different species. So when you have, say, a commander who's been fighting in a Western army, leading men who are Ukrainian, they're not going to understand that they should have initiative, that they should have the want to move on an objective without looking for a commander to tell them what to do. And basically, what it boils down to is these are two different worlds that are trying to make it work in real time, and it's just definitely not going to work.
So would you say Russia's smart to have a segregated mercenary army, segregated regular army?
100%.
That's
Yeah,
why it
we
works.
don't. Yeah.
Because the segregated army is in the top-heavy structure right now, possibly. We don't know. Hopefully they're learning from what the Wagners are doing as far as being given people more ability to control their own situation. And then Wagner can operate Western style inside the Russian style because they're completely separate and insulated from that. Is that what you're
You
basically
don't
saying?
want them to mix. Yeah, that's perfectly said, man. That's exactly why the Russians and the Wagners are they're like oil and water. So they're not actually mixing completely. They're working side by side, but they're not actually mixing completely. And this is something that Ukraine cannot do because they have to mix, because they need men, they need operators, and they're forced to have this muddy style of leadership, and it's not working out for them. There's videos where you can see Westerners leading Ukrainians, and the Ukrainians are like, well, what's happening? And obviously, the foreigners from Western countries are operating at a different level, like Australians, Canadians, Americans. We are so used to working in 3 to 4 man teams, going up against squads. Like 3 or 4 of us will fight 12 or even up to 20 men. And that's because we have very good small leaders and non-commissioned officers. Yeah.
It reminds me of sports. When I play soccer, football, when I go to different teams, right, it's very painful because some teams expect you to stay in position. I think basketball is the same. Like, they expect you to you're a defender, you just stay there. You cannot go up. If you go up, you cannot come down. Then there are other teams that asking you, what the hell? You just stay there. The opponent is going around you and then you're not reacting. And it reminds me of that because it's like, it's very painful every time I change team. Is that I do not know how they play. And then, I have to just watch around and it just cannot be comfortable. And when you have this difference in philosophy, the team cannot work. It's like you always lose the game.
I was going to ask,
exactly
have you guys seen all the stories that have come out in the last couple of days about the stolen valor and the fake mercenaries in the Ukrainian military that are lying about their qualifications and going over there, and basically them being in the units is causing problems? And do you think that's another issue that's going to, might be part of that? They're talking about guys like specifically Vasquez. He lied about going to Iraq and I can't remember where else, maybe Afghanistan or Kuwait. But like
That is a big
Dan's
problem.
saying, these guys are trying to lead guys trained in the Russian way, in the Western way, and then you put fake guys in who aren't even qualified to do what they claim they're doing. It's got to be causing massive problems because, I mean, we heard about the Reddit battalion and all that. And I know a lot of those guys all got killed off and wiped out and stuff. But I wonder how many of these idiots are floating around in Ukrainian units and basically causing problems just by them being present.
That's such a good topic,
there's
man.
There's two sides to that, because something else I've noticed, not only do the idiots thrive there, all of the competent mercs got out. Like, that sniper dude, he had a look there, he saw what it was like, and he got out, right? And I've seen a lot of that. The more competent mercs had a look, they saw the culture, they saw that it wasn't suitable. It's like Dan said, it's oil and water, and they realized, you know what? I don't want to fight this way. I'm not trained to fight this way. And they got out, which was the smart thing to do. So I think that, like, by default, they're getting all of the retarded mercs, and they're getting all of these guys that are there for adventure and who probably don't have a lot of brain cells. And so,
100%.
And I also have a question. This is like, okay, so what happened? The ISIS attacked Philippines. Then they were sieging around the city for half a year, and then it's very weird. This guy, one of the troops come over to Singapore, and then we actually have this exchange program. So we taught them how to fight close quarter combat, urban combat, and then they show us how they fought. And I was thinking, why are Singaporean military qualified to teach them? Similarly, now the Ukrainian troops are going to UK or whatever, to train. And I was thinking, UK, what's the war the UK have fought? What makes them qualified to teach all these people? And if they are not qualified to teach these people, and these people are mobilized, they don't even go through basic military training, which I went through for 3 months, and I still feel like an idiot after 3 months. They go there for 3 weeks, and then they expect to train under people who are totally no experience in fighting. How are they going to fight? I tell you for a fact, after 3 months of basic military training, I still think that I'm an idiot. I don't even know what the hell I'm doing.
That's basically all of us.
I did 2 years of officer school, and I still shut up and listened to the NCOs because that's what you had to do.
Why don't they?
Because they knew what they were doing.
Okay,
3
so
weeks,
perhaps,
it's insane.
Perhaps you just need to convince people they are ready to go to battle and die there. That's all. And it works very well because if we really believe in some of the worst prognosis, we are talking about 400,000 people died. They died. And this is really.
Oh, we're talking about the mercenaries, Prada. We're talking about the mercenaries who come in with no experience mixing with troops from Ukraine, and this was a topic.
Previously, yep.
This Polish motherfucker, which was a mafia in Poland, and his military experience was as a security on a supermarket, and then he got to Ukraine, and then he robbed their supermarkets with his troops. Yeah, that was the big commander in Ukraine, which then these guys from one guy from United States, one French, and one Spanish, they rebelled against him, and he threatened them to kill them. And they made a YouTube video about that.
I'll say something on topic with what Toby and Van was talking about. When the war started, and I started seeing mercenaries go to Ukraine. Now, I started noticing that a lot of these guys, I looked them up, they were just basically men who didn't deploy in America. And I was like, oh, okay, so these guys feel like they didn't do anything, so they want to go, just their qualifications is they think, it does carry a lot of weight saying, oh, I served in the American military. But there's levels to this. There's big levels to this. For one, you could be a veteran of a conflict. You could be a combat veteran of a conflict. And you could be a highly decorated veteran. So when you see these guys who want to instruct, like the commander was saying, like what is this guy going to teach these guys that they're actually going to use in combat against the Russians? 0%. I'll take a personal experience. When they trained us Marines, it was like 7 months by the time I was in Afghanistan. And I was like, oh, so everything's learned on the job. And this is exactly what war is. You learn on the job. If you survive a week, you have a week experience. The best you could do is learn how to shoot the shoot the rifle. But I mean, everything after that, you're just gonna learn in the trench.
I just wanted to say short because to this theme of the mercenaries, I also heard that a lot of soft air guns fighter.
So yeah.
I was going to say they got to Ukraine to fight for real, the motherfucker. Yeah, imagine, you come from soft air gun and go to the real war. How stupid can you be?
Yeah, but like Dan was saying, with like levels, like when I went through basic training, I had basic infantry training. I mean, we learned how to patrol, how to walk spaced out, how to keep your rifle pointed where you're looking. How to do an L ambush. But then once I got done with basic training, I went on to AIT and did all tank stuff. Now, arguably, I could say I was in the Army, and yeah, I could go over there and show a guy how to do the basic shit, but it wouldn't be backed up by any experience or any real life anything. It'd be like, yeah, I did this a couple weeks in 30 years ago. So now I'm going to show you how to do it. And then that's supposed to transfer into being able to fight guys that are serious. I mean, that's what's kind of sad. These guys are, like that one guy, I can't remember the American that was captured, and I think he got released, but he was like an NBC officer. It's like, yeah, he had the same training I had as far as he learned how to march and do patrols and walk around with a gun, but then he went and did NBC training. So it's like, he's not really going to be, neither one of us would be worth a damn as far as trying to train or lead any kind of infantry. Even though we've practiced the tactic and understand it, it would be moronic to have me do that. But even though I know how to do it, and that's pretty sad, these guys are getting, led by people that are supposedly these American Rambos or NATO Rambos, and then, they're clerks or something. I mean, even a clerk knows how to shoot an M16, but that don't mean you want them doing assaults in Bakhmut with you.
Yeah.
In basic military training, right? So what we learn is how to die or just to die. So we basically we do combat patrol, but the combat patrol, what's the purpose? So what the sergeant tell us is that your purpose is to get engaged and trigger ambush and you die. So basically, once you die, the enemy is there. That's your purpose. That's your job. So you just go to. That's what combat patrol is. You just walk, ambush. Then the next thing you do is that where the ambush come from, turn around, just charge, and then just fire randomly, just charge, and then and hope that you don't die. But usually you will die. They say that most of the chance, 90% you're gonna die. But your commander will know that there's enemy there. That's the purpose. So that is the basic military training.
In my group, we are changing now. We are changing now Beretta for Glock. So we are changing now Beretta for Glock. We are shooting now for 3 weeks, 1,000 rounds a day. My hands are like, I cannot move my fingers anymore, and that's now for 3 weeks, and it takes 3 weeks more until we feel sure enough to use the Glock instead of Beretta. And they are doing
when
3
do you
weeks.
did that?
So now I am in the training now.
In which police?
If you get shot with a handgun in a war, you're very unlucky, man.
No police. Security force.
Ah, okay.